Fallout Season 2 Episode 1 has just been released on Prime, and the second season of Jonathan Nolan's Prime show has started in a good way. We get an intriguing flashback introducing us to the character of Robert House, who tests a dangerous neural device before the bombs fell, establishing his ruthless ambition. Also, in the post-apocalyptic present, Lucy and the Ghoul continue their search for Hank, following clues that lead them towards New Vegas, encountering more violence and moral conflict along the way. And the episode also hints at deeper mysteries involving Vault-Tec experiments and how the brain control tech we were introduced to might be tied to Hank. So in this explained analysis, I'm going to be giving you my breakdown and review of Fallout Season 2 Episode 1, titled The Innovator. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, then I would recommend checking it out before watching my analysis. Before I get into it though, if you want to see more videos on Fallout and other upcoming TV releases, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into my explained video for Fallout Season 2 Episode 1. So picking up directly from the Season 1 finale, the second season immediately moves us into more complicated narrative ground. Lucy, played by Ella Purnell, and Walton Goggins the Ghoul are now on the trail of Hank MacLean, heading deep into the Mojave Wasteland. In particular, it's the setting of Fallout New Vegas, widely regarded as the most beloved entry in the game series. In that world, New Vegas stands apart as the only major American city to survive the nuclear apocalypse in something resembling its pre-war form, and that survival can be traced back to a single figure. The city was shielded from annihilation by Robert House, a visionary tech magnate whose shadow loomed briefly over Season 1 during the Vault-Tec meeting where Bob revealed the company's willingness to trigger the bombs themselves. Season 2 opens by properly introducing House through a pre-war flashback, with Justin Theroux stepping into the role. A title card dubs him the man who knew, and the scene wastes no time in establishing both his intelligence and his cruelty. House confronts a group of working class men at a bar who are Robco employees on strike against the robotics empire he owns, and he proceeds to assert dominance in the most disturbing way possible. He invites one man to punch him purely to test whether pain might be pleasurable before implanting a mind control device into the back of his neck. Helpless, the man is forced to beat his fellow workers to death with a baseball bat until the device triggers and his head violently explodes. It's an audacious and darkly playful introduction that signals just how important and dangerous this character will be going forward. For longtime fans of Fallout, House is one of the franchise's most intellectually compelling figures, a ruthless technocrat who governs New Vegas through an army of robots and believes absolute control is humanity's only path to survival. The show's decision to foreground him raises immediate questions, especially since the season is set around 15 years after the events of New Vegas, and House's fate is famously dependent on player choice. The writers have claimed that they want to avoid establishing a single canonical ending to the game, which makes House's inclusion here somewhat puzzling. But without knowing all the answers yet, this opening flashback does succeed in deepening his character by expanding on his pre-war origins. And it's a striking way to begin a season that seems determined to wrestle with the franchise's biggest moral and philosophical ideas. Shifting back to the post-war timeline, the episode catches up with Lucy and the Ghoul at a moment where things have gone predictably sideways. They've landed in Novak, the rundown roadside settlement built around a decaying motel. In the games, Novak functioned as a relatively calm waypoint for travellers, but here it's fallen under the control of the Great Khans, a raider clan with a quasi-tribal identity and a firm grip on the regional drug trade. The Ghoul is left hanging over the motel's drained swimming pool, while Lucy keeps watch from the town's most recognisable landmark, the giant dinosaur statue known as the Dinky. True to form, Lucy tries to talk her way out of trouble with the Khans, but that optimism collapses fast when their leader responds by threatening to eat dog meat, making it clear that reason isn't on the table. Once Lucy shoots the rope that the Ghoul is hanging from, he gets loose and chaos takes over from diplomacy. He tears through the raiders one by one with gleeful over-the-top violence, capped off by a particularly memorable grenade kill that sends limbs and gore flying in all directions. Not long after this, Lucy and the Ghoul are back on the road, resuming their ongoing ethical tug-of-war as they push deeper into the wasteland. Lucy defends her refusal to become a killer in a world that seems to demand it, while the Ghoul, increasingly exasperated, boils morality down to survival. He reminds her that the only thing that matters is cutting him down before the rope snaps. Cresting a sand dune, they finally glimpse New Vegas shimmering on the horizon, a destination that feels close but still quite out of reach. So I think there will be a few episodes before they do get there. Elsewhere, the story checks back in with the residents of Vaults 32 and 33, which have largely settled back into routine after the raider chaos that opened the first season, aside from an ongoing water shortage in 33. Of course, Vault 31, 32 and 33 were never really about saving people, they were elaborate social experiments and management programs designed to sustain Vault-Tech's control over post-war society. In episode 1 of season 2, we learn that Davey struggles to orient himself in a vault that mirrors his old one. We also discovered that the newly appointed Vault 32 overseer Stephanie is working through some darker impulses. At the end of season 1 and into season 2, we know that Stephanie Harper, who had been a resident of 33 and a close friend of Lucy, survived the brutal raider attack but lost her husband Bert and was left with their newborn child. Chet, Lucy and Norm's cousin, is in Vault 32 and becomes increasingly uneasy with Stephanie's leadership style, which in episode 1 is shown through her attempts to assert control and make tough decisions. She tries balancing the responsibilities of running a vault and caring for her child. Her dynamic with Chet seems tense as she firmly puts him in his place while he reluctantly cares for the newborn and tries to keep the peace within the vault. This establishes Stephanie as a complex and authoritative figure early on in season 2, struggling to maintain order and stability in a situation that's deteriorating on both practical and emotional levels. And when it comes to Lucy's younger brother Norm, who was left behind in Vault 31 at the end of season 1 after uncovering dark secrets, he finds himself trapped in that vault with very little food or water. Vault 31 turned out to be a cryogenic storage site for Vault-Tech's executives, elites who were frozen before the bombs went off, to be awakened as overseers for the other vaults. This is a truth Norm realizes as he confronts the overseer robot Bud and dozens of cryopods holding centuries-old Vault-Tech personnel. Bud tries to persuade Norm to either enter a pod himself or accept a lethal injection, effectively offering him a scripted fate, but Norm appears to be rebelling. He destroys the syringe and deliberately defrosts all the frozen executives at once, upending Vault-Tech's long-term plan and potentially dooming or liberating a new generation of Vault Overseers. It's a move that's unlikely to improve his circumstances, but I guess they won't make them any worse either. The biggest question hanging over the premiere though, and likely the engine driving the season as a whole, is how every major character ultimately ties back to Robert House. The episode starts to sketch in that connection through a flashback from the Ghoul's past, returning us to the pre-war days and a tense meeting between Cooper Howard and Moldaver. In it, Moldaver drops a chilling revelation in that House isn't just building infrastructure in Las Vegas, he's constructing a missile system that he alone controls. In Fallout New Vegas, that system is framed as the reason that the city survived the Great War, with House intercepting or disabling nearly every incoming warhead before its impact. Moldaver, however, sees something far more dangerous. In her view, the same technology that can stop an apocalypse can also start one, handing House the ability to launch nuclear destruction at will. Fearing what that kind of power could mean, she presses Cooper to intervene before it's too late. When Cooper hesitantly asks whether she wants him to spy on the richest man in the country, Moldaver corrects him with a single loaded word that makes her intentions clear. And of course, before he becomes the Ghoul in the future, the idea of assassination sits firmly outside of his moral comfort zone. This brings us to the ending of Season 2's first episode. Still following Hank's trail, Lucy and the Ghoul stumble onto the ruins of a vault concealed behind a long-abandoned drive-in theatre. In its prime, the facility appears to have housed one of Vault-Tech's most grotesque social experiments, centered on mind control and forced psychological rehabilitation. We learn that wealthy, hyper-capitalist Americans were subjected to conditioning meant to turn them into enthusiastic converts to communism. The reason for Hank's interest in this place comes into focus near the episode's end, when he's revealed to be operating inside a massive subterranean Vault-Tech research complex. Hank appears to have been involved before the bombs fell in developing the same brain-computer interference technology that Robert House used on the Robco workers in the opening flashback scene. So that revelation throws Hank's true allegiances into question. Was he ever just a loyal Vault-Tech middle manager, or has he always been tied more closely to House than we realised? So as a whole, the ending reinforces one of Fallout's central ideas, that the apocalypse didn't erase old power structures and that it preserved them in new, more grotesque forms. Hank's story no longer reads as a simple betrayal or escape, as it looks like the continuation of a pre-war agenda that never truly ended. By tying Hank to the same technology used for mind control and psychological domination, the episode suggests that the real threat this season isn't just physical violence or nuclear weapons, but the ability to override free will itself. Lucy and the Ghoul may think they're chasing a man, but the ending makes it clear that they're really circling something much larger. It seems as though it's about a legacy of control that predates the bombs, and it may be even harder to destroy. So what did I think of the first episode from Fallout Season 2? Well, the show returns with a bold and ambitious premiere that immediately re-establishes the show's post-apocalyptic world while charting new narrative territory. It sets a tone that's both expansive and slightly heavier, and there's a palpable sense of ambition, opening up its post-nuclear world in ways that feel both expansive and thematically weighty compared to the first season. From the outset, the episode wastes no time diving into fresh stakes and intriguing new characters, most memorably the enigmatic Robert House, whose chilling and unforgettable introduction signals that this season will delve deeper into the morally ambiguous high-stakes power struggles of the Wasteland. The episode builds tension and mystery effectively, even if its pacing during some transitions feels a bit uneven, and the story takes its time to fully develop. Visually and tonally, the Season 2 premiere retains the series' distinctive aesthetic, as the radiated deserts and ruins feel lived in and textured. The performances also continue to anchor the story in compelling character motivations. It continues to benefit from its leads, particularly Ella Purnell as Lucy and Walton Goggins Ghoul, both of whom ground the story's more dramatic beats with earnestness and nuance. The chemistry between them remains a highlight, with their shared journey into the wider, more dangerous reaches of the Wasteland. So as a whole, the opening of Season 2 delivers a bold and stimulating return to its war-torn universe. It expands the narrative canvas with darker tones and more intricate stakes, strengthens its emotional through lines with committed performances, and sets up a myriad of plot threads that promise a season rich with conflict and discovery. It seems to trade some of the lighter, eccentric humour of Season 1 for a more serious and layered narrative packed with new lore and thematic depth, exploring not just survival but the remnants of pre-war power structures and the tech oligarchs shaping the world's future. It underscores the show's ambition to expand beyond its initial survival story into a broader, more complex portrait of a fractured society rebuilding itself amid ruin. It's a welcome evolution for a series rooted in one of gaming's most beloved franchises, and it signals a willingness by Jonathan Nolan and the entire creative team to deepen Fallout's thematic ambitions and embrace the complexity inherent in its source material. So overall, The Innovator is a strong and promising first episode that excites as much as it intrigues, laying rich foundations for the season ahead. But that was my breakdown and analysis for Fallout Season 2, Episode 1. I will be doing more videos on the show as new episodes come out, so keep a lookout for more and stay tuned to my channel for more breakdowns on the show. But to those who have already seen Episode 1 of Fallout Season 2, what are your thoughts on all the events that went down, and what do you think will happen as more episodes come out from the second season? Let me know down below in the comment section. For more videos on the Fallout series, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.